Hi, my name is Lisa Trussell. My husband David and I have been a part of Resonate Missions for the last 15 years. Resonate is a movement that started in the Pacific Northwest from an East Texas Baptist college minister. He was in Pullman, Washington at a church as a college minister, doing the things that we do in the South, bring college students into the church, but it wasn't working. So he decided that things had to change, and he, along with several other men his age, young men from East Texas, developed a strategy. If the college students weren't coming to the church, they would go to them. That began the Resonate movement. The universities at the Pacific Northwest are some of the darkest universities in the United States. They have found that they had a lot of secularism, humanism, and actually some witchcraft involved in the churches. So it was definitely a place that they needed to know about Jesus. They developed a strategy to reach them by relational skills, disciple skills, and then sharing Jesus. And their strategy worked. In Pullman, Washington was the first Resonate church connected with the University of Washington. From there, they sought out cities in the Pacific Northwest who had universities. And that brings us to Missoula, Montana, who they said was one of the darkest cities they had ever experienced. The University of Montana is there. They sent 6 students to learn about the city and to come back and report, and truly they felt like the Lord was leading them there. Now when these 6 went to Missoula, they knew no one. They found jobs on campus. These were all graduates of the University of Pullman. So some of these graduates had actually become Christians while they were there, such as the pastor in Resonate. Now, how would you feel if this was your son that you were sending to college and he was going to be an engineer, and NASA had actually offered him a job? On the way, he meets Jesus. His family is not a believing family. He tells mom and dad, I'm going to be a missionary. So a lot of the families are also affected from these students. So it's a domino effect. Not only their peers, but they go home and tell family members. So Preston and his wife Tracy became believers while they were at Resonate in Pullman. He's the site pastor. He was very skilled, very brilliant engineer, but instead he's vested in the lives of others. So who better to invest in the lives of college students than those who have just come out of college? They use the strategy that they implement in all the churches across the Pacific Northwest. And it works because they go in and they make friendships first. They have gospel conversations with students. And then they have a very strong discipleship class, meets weekly. When they were in Missoula, they were really surprised that the university there gave them a room to meet in on Sunday nights. So Preston would preach, they have someone leading music, and that was their first church service. Well, fast forward 5 years from then, right now, this last fall, they began their fall with 150 students in worship service. They're not on the campus anymore. There was a church close to campus that was about to close its doors. So they asked if the Resonate kids would want to come borrow the church and possibly work into some ownership, and that's still to be determined. But now they have their worship service on Sunday night in a real church building. They have classrooms, so instead of meeting in college dorms, in coffee shops, or in parks, they can invite seekers, new believers, to have a place at the church to meet. They also have a phenomenal kitchen, and that's where we come in. We're supporting these young missionaries. They don't need us to go tell college kids about Jesus. They need us to support them by cooking meals. And as you can imagine, as college students grow, they get married. And yes, there's about 8 babies within the Resonate staff, and they need us to help support by babysitting when they have these events. This fall we'll be going to start to help them as they begin their fall freshman kickoff. Freshman week is very important. That's when they can kind of catch college kids that haven't gotten influenced by other things. They are so strong with their relational skills. They connect with students, and then the Resonate process begins. And once these kids learn who Jesus is, they're discipled. They go to a summer camp after their freshman year that Resonate puts on. But their lives have been changed by Jesus, and they're excited to tell others. So we're excited to once again be a part of supporting them through non-conventional means by cooking, providing the meals. They've told us you better take your vitamins because everything we do for Freshman Week is at night. So we're going to be providing meals. We'll provide a Sunday celebration, and then we'll leave the rest to them. They will tell others about Jesus, and we will encourage those young missionaries and help in all the ways that we can.